Welcome to Motivational Journey. We live in a world where everyone talks about motivation, videos, quotes, music, speeches. And yes, motivation feels amazing. It can spark a fire inside us. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is permanent. Motivation is one of the most powerful feelings we experience. When it strikes, it feels like nothing can stop us. Our energy rises, our goals seem clear, and we feel ready to conquer anything. But the truth is, motivation is like a spark, bright, exciting, inspiring, but temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Sometimes it shines like the sun, filling us with power. Other times, it disappears without warning, leaving us feeling stuck, unready, and tired. Many people start their journey relying only on motivation. They wait for the perfect moment, the right mood, or the ideal energy to begin. They get inspired by videos, speeches, or success stories and think that feeling will stay forever. But as days pass, emotions change. Life gets busy. Distractions appear. Tiredness comes. And suddenly, that motivation that once felt unstoppable begins to fade. This is where most people quit. Not because they don't have dreams. Not because they don't have talent. But because they depended only on motivation to carry them forward. They thought motivation would always push them. But motivation was never meant to carry you to the finish line. It is only meant to start the engine, not drive the entire journey. Real growth begins when motivation fades. When excitement disappears, and you still choose to show up. When you feel lazy, uninspired, or even defeated, yet you move forward anyway. This is where discipline enters, but the understanding starts with realizing that motivation alone is not enough. Think about people who go to the gym in January. The first week, the gym is full. Everyone is excited, motivated, and ready to transform their life. But go back a month later, more than half of those people are gone. Why? Their motivation disappeared. They expected motivation to last, but it didn't. Now, look at the ones who continue coming month after month, year after year. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. They understand that success is not about how you feel today, it's about what you do every day. Motivation is emotional, and emotion is temporary. Some days you will feel powerful, and some days you will feel weak. But your dreams don't care about your mood. Your goals don't pause when you feel lazy. Your future self is waiting, and motivation won't always be there to push you forward. That is why you must not worship motivation. Appreciate it, use it when it comes, enjoy the spark, but never expect it to last. Instead, understand its role. Motivation is a door opener, not a path builder. It gives you the push to begin, but you must learn to move forward even when the push is gone. People who accomplish great things don't sit around waiting to feel inspired. They don't stop because their mood is low. They don't slow down because the excitement faded. They act because they made a promise to themselves. They keep going because their dreams are bigger than their excuses. And those dreams deserve more than temporary effort. They deserve consistency. They deserve commitment. They deserve a version of you that shows up every single day, not just the days you feel motivated. Motivation can change your day. But discipline changes your life. And the first step to discipline is understanding that motivation will not always be there, but you must be. Habits are the quiet architects of our future. They shape who we become far more than sudden bursts of energy or short waves of inspiration ever will. Discipline is the force that creates those habits, one action at a time, one day at a time. Many people misunderstand success as something that arrives through rare moments of powerful motivation. But in reality, success comes through repeated effort, even on the days when nothing feels exciting. Discipline may not always feel thrilling, but it always builds. It builds structure, routine, strength, mindset, and most importantly, identity. Every time you choose action over excuses, you strengthen the foundation of who you are becoming. We often admire successful people and assume they wake up every day full of enthusiasm and motivation. But the truth is, even they have days when they don't want to get out of bed, when they feel tired, overwhelmed, or uninspired. The only difference is that they act anyway. They don't rely on emotions, they rely on habits formed through discipline. A student who studies daily, even when they don't feel like it, slowly builds knowledge that compounds. An athlete who trains consistently, even on off days, builds a body capable of greatness. A creator who practices their craft every single day, whether inspired or not, sharpens their skills to a level motivation alone could never reach. This is why discipline matters, because dreams need structure, not mood swings. Motivation whispers, do it when you feel ready. Discipline says, do it because your future depends on it. When you follow discipline repeatedly, something powerful happens. The actions you force today become the habits you live tomorrow. At first, waking up early feels difficult. Exercising feels tiring. Studying feels boring. Reading feels slow. But with discipline, routine replaces resistance. Over time, what once felt hard becomes automatic. You don't struggle to begin, you struggle to stop, because it has become part of who you are. That transformation is the gift only discipline can give you. Think about your life right now. Every habit you already have, good or bad, was built through repetition. If scrolling your phone for hours is normal to you, it's because you repeated it enough times that your mind turned it into a routine. If procrastinating feels natural, it's because you practiced delaying action until it felt comfortable. Discipline uses this same mechanism, but in your favor. It replaces careless habits with purposeful ones. It teaches your mind and body that your goals matter more than momentary comfort. And slowly, a disciplined routine becomes your lifestyle. Most people chase motivation because it feels easy, exciting, and uplifting. Discipline, however, often looks simple and ordinary. Waking up at the same time. Showing up for work. Practicing a skill quietly. These small actions rarely look glamorous, but they generate the results that everyone admires later. The world sees the success. It doesn't see the countless disciplined days behind it. This is why discipline is more powerful, because it works silently, without applause, without hype, without attention. There will always be distractions. There will always be reasons to delay. There will always be days when you don't feel like trying. But discipline is the promise you make to your future self. It is the decision to keep moving forward even when life pulls you back. When you master discipline, you are no longer controlled by moods, excuses, or temporary feelings. You become controlled by purpose, by habits, by commitment. That is where true power lies. A motivated person can start. A disciplined person finishes. And in the end, finishing, not starting, is what changes everything. Success is not built on the days when everything feels easy. It is built on the days when you don't feel like doing anything, yet you show up anyway. The world celebrates the results, the trophies, the achievements, the moments of victory, but very few notice the quiet battles fought in private. Those battles happen when you wake up tired but still get to work, when your mind is full of doubt but you still push forward, when your energy is low but you refuse to quit. That is the difference between someone who dreams of success and someone who earns it. Winners do not rely on motivation because they understand a simple truth: feelings come and go, but commitment must remain. They wake up with a purpose, not a mood. They choose action, not excuses. While others wait to feel inspired, winners take steps even when inspiration is nowhere to be found. They move not because they feel strong, but because they promised themselves they would not stop until they reach their goals. Everyone loves the idea of success, the excitement, the recognition, the confidence, the lifestyle. But not everyone loves the process, the early mornings, the late nights, the sacrifices, the discipline, the repetitive hard work. It is easy to be consistent when you're excited. It is easy to put in effort when everything feels fresh and new. But motivation fades. Enthusiasm fades. Even passion can feel quiet at times. What remains is your character, your determination, and your willingness to move forward anyway. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who feel motivated all the time, they are the ones who have trained themselves to act independent of their emotional state. They understand that success is created not by bursts of effort, but by consistency, and consistency only exists when you work even without the spark of motivation. Think about athletes training before sunrise, while others are still asleep. Think about entrepreneurs building their dreams while everyone else relaxes. Think about students studying late at night when their friends are scrolling, watching, and wasting time. These individuals do not rely on feeling ready, they rely on discipline. They don't wait for the perfect mood, they create momentum through action. And once they start, something powerful happens: action generates energy. Movement creates motivation. The hardest part is beginning, but once you push past that first barrier, your body and mind follow. Winners understand this, and that's why they take action first rather than waiting for feelings to push them. It is important to realize that even those who inspire millions have moments of weakness. They get upset, exhausted, frustrated, and doubtful. But they do not let these emotions dictate their actions. They know that their goals don't pause just because they feel tired. They know that progress does not care about comfort. So they get up, they show up, and they do what needs to be done. They don't do it because they always feel like it, they do it because they made a decision, and they honor that decision daily. The ordinary person stops when they feel discomfort, the extraordinary person continues despite it. That is what separates the average from the exceptional. In life, the difference between where you are and where you want to be is not talent or luck, it is consistency. And consistency is only possible when you work even without motivation. Every time you push through laziness, you strengthen your discipline. Every time you act when you don't feel like it, you increase your mental toughness. Every time you show up, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. One day, your results will speak so loudly that no one will remember the days you struggled, but you will remember, and you will be proud. Because you didn't rely on feelings. You relied on commitment. You didn't wait for motivation. You created success through discipline, resilience, and the courage to keep going no matter how you felt. Consistency is the quiet force that turns small actions into powerful results over time. Many people believe that success requires big dramatic efforts, intense workouts, long study hours in one night, huge changes all at once. But the real truth is that lasting success rarely comes from sudden bursts of effort. It comes from steady, repeated actions, even if they seem small in the moment. It is not what you do once in a while that changes you, it's what you do every day. The world often glorifies intensity because it looks impressive, but intensity without consistency fades quickly. A person who works extremely hard for 1 week and then quits has less growth than someone who works moderately but consistently for months. The slow, steady, daily effort builds a foundation that temporary motivation never can. Think about exercise as an example. Someone might go to the gym for 3 or 4 hours one day, full of excitement and energy, only to avoid going again for the next 2 weeks because they burned themselves out. Meanwhile, another person may go for just 30 minutes every day. At first glance, the intense workout looks more powerful. But after 3 months, who will see real transformation? Not the person who relied on a single intense session, but the one who committed to a daily routine. That is the power of consistency. Small efforts repeated frequently beat explosive effort repeated rarely. Just as water dripping slowly over time can carve a rock, consistent daily actions carve strength, discipline, and progress into a person's life. Consistency also builds trust, not with others, but with yourself. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you strengthen your inner belief. You prove to your mind that you are someone who follows through. Every time you skip what you plan to do, you weaken that trust. You send a message to yourself that your goals are optional, not necessary. When you commit to showing up daily, even in a small way, you train your mind and body to respect your goals. The more consistent you become, the more capable you feel. And when your mind believes in your consistency, success becomes a natural response, not a lucky break. Confidence comes from keeping your word to yourself repeatedly, not from occasional motivation. Consider learning as another example. A student who studies 1 hour every day will outperform someone who studies 10 hours in one day and then nothing for a week. The brain learns better through repetition than overload. Skills sharpen when practiced regularly, not when pushed intensely and abandoned. Musicians, athletes, writers, speakers, builders, all masters in their fields, reached greatness by doing small daily practices, not by rare bursts of effort. They understood that consistency creates mastery. Every day they built one small layer, and over time, those layers formed greatness. Consistency also builds momentum. A small step every day creates movement, and movement creates progress. When you do something daily, it becomes easier to continue. When you miss one day, it becomes easier to miss the next. That is why consistency matters more than perfection. You don't have to be flawless. You don't have to do huge things every day. You simply need to keep moving. Even slow progress is still progress. Even tiny steps forward are better than standing still. The goal is not to be perfect, the goal is to never stop. Life will always have challenges. There will be days when you feel tired, days when things go wrong, days when motivation is nowhere to be found. But consistency does not depend on how you feel, it depends on who you decide to be. If you choose to show up every day, even in a small way, eventually your small steps turn into big results. Consistency turns effort into habit, habit into growth, and growth into transformation. That is why consistency beats intensity, because anyone can be intense for a moment, but only those who are consistent can succeed for a lifetime. True transformation is not born from sudden bursts of emotion or short-lived waves of motivation. It comes from discipline, steady effort, and the willingness to keep going even when the excitement fades. Lasting change does not happen in a moment, it happens through the choices you make repeatedly, the habits you build, and the sacrifices you make when no one is watching. Discipline is what separates temporary improvement from lifelong progress. It is the silent power behind every dream that becomes real and every life that evolves from ordinary to extraordinary. When you commit to discipline, you are not just working toward a goal, you are building a new identity, brick by brick, action by action, day by day. Many people want change. They want a better body, a better mind, a better career, a better life. But they want it fast, and they want it while staying comfortable. They rely on motivation to push them, thinking that if they feel inspired, they will finally act. But only discipline has the power to create lasting transformation, because it does not depend on the hunger of the moment, it depends on the strength of your character. Discipline tells you to wake up early even when you want to sleep longer. It tells you to study even when entertainment looks tempting. It tells you to train when you are tired, to save money when spending seems easier, to work on your goals when distractions try to pull you away. It is the quiet force that shapes the person you are becoming, one honest decision at a time. True discipline is not loud. It does not show off. It does not need applause or recognition. It is practiced in silence, in the early mornings, in the late nights, in moments when no one claps or praises you. But later, that silence turns into success that everyone notices. That is the beauty of discipline. It works in the shadows but shines in the results. When you choose discipline, you choose long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. You choose purpose over comfort. And slowly, you begin to realize that every small disciplined action builds self-respect, inner strength, and unstoppable momentum. There will be days when the journey feels slow, when progress feels invisible, when it seems like nothing is changing. These are the moments that test your spirit. This is where many people give up, thinking success isn't coming fast enough. But discipline teaches patience. It reminds you that great things take time, that seeds do not grow into trees overnight, and that every small effort counts even when you cannot see the results yet. If you stay consistent, if you keep your promise to yourself, the day will come when the result appears, strong, undeniable, and earned through discipline. The truth is, discipline is not just about achieving goals, it is about becoming someone capable of maintaining the success you achieve. Motivation can help you start, but discipline ensures you don't return to old habits once you reach the finish line. It teaches you self-control, resilience, and mental strength. It trains you to act based on your purpose, not on your mood. And when you master that level of self-control, nothing outside you can stop your growth. You become your own leader, your own guide, your own source of power. A disciplined person does not wait for life to be easy, they become strong enough to handle the hard parts. They don't pray for fewer challenges, they prepare for greater victories. They understand that pain, inconvenience, and challenges are part of the journey, not obstacles to ruin them. And because of that mindset, they win, not just once, but continuously. Lasting change belongs to those who show up every day, who do the work even when they don't feel like it, who choose growth over comfort. Your future will not be shaped by temporary motivation, but by the discipline you practice daily. If you want a life others admire, you must build habits others avoid. That is the truth about lasting change. It demands discipline, and discipline demands commitment. But in the end, the life you create will be worth every sacrifice, because you earned it, step by disciplined step.